those verses. And his wife was injured, Uthman's wife Naila. She was there in the house. She came to rescue him. She was struck, her hand was injured, and she lost some of her fingers. So the cloak of Uthman, his qamis that he was wearing, in fact, on that very day, he asked his wife to give him an undergarment to wear. Okay, and she asked him why, because the Arabs would usually wear a garment, and they wouldn't at that time necessarily wear an undergarment, especially when they are home. So he said, I need an undergarment on that day when he was killed. And then he told her about the dream, that I think I will be killed today. Okay, so when I fall, I don't want my private parts to be visible or to be exposed. Right, subhanAllah. This was the level of their taqwa and their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the dreams, in his dreams he was being told these things. So the clothes of Uthman radiallahu anh and the injured finger ended up in Damascus, and Muawiyah radiallahu anh was a cousin of Uthman radiallahu anh, and he stood up on the minbar with the cloak, the fingers. He said, I will seek justice for this. I will seek justice for this. And by this time, some people, mostly these Khawarij who had besieged the house of Uthman, had given bay'ah to Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh. Ali did not want to take that bay'ah. Ali knew that what might be the outcome of bay'ah, because he might be blamed for everything that took place. Because if he appears to be the beneficiary of the events that took place in Medina at the time, naturally he will be blamed for the murder of Uthman, and he didn't want to take bay'ah, but they actually forced him to take bay'ah. And some well-wishers, they came to Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, and they said, if not you, then who is the question? There is chaos. We need a strong character, strong personality to take the reins of power before things spill out and we lose everything. We lose our peace. Okay, so we need someone like you, oh Ali, to take power. And Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, he reluctantly took the bay'ah. And many of the people who gave bay'ah were the actual besiegers or killers of Uthman radiallahu anh. One of those controversial characters who was very prominent later on in the army of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh was Malik al-Ashtar, a very controversial figure at that time who played a very controversial role and doesn't have a very positive profile in the Sunni narrative. In the Shia narrative, he's a hero. Okay, interestingly enough. So when the bay'ah was given, now Muawiyah, he asked him to surrender the killers to us so that we can punish them. We want the killers, and his demand was valid. Ali bin Abi Talib's response was, radiallahu anh, that let's unite the Muslims first, give bay'ah to me, unite on my khilafah, my leadership, and then we will deal with the killers of Uthman together. Muawiyah radiallahu anh, he responded by saying, and this is all reported in the sources, that we will give you bay'ah the day you hand over the killers of Uthman. We do not dispute your khilafah. We do not want to give you bay'ah. We want the killers of Uthman to be punished. So once they are punished, we will give bay'ah to you on the same day. There are reports that Muawiyah radiallahu anh was asked later on that did you consider yourself to be superior to Ali bin Abi Talib? And this report can be found in the history of Damascus, Tarikh Damashq of Ibn Asakir. And Muawiyah said, by Allah, I never considered myself to be superior to Ali. Ali was much superior to me in status and fadail. Our dispute was over the killers of Uthman. And this was again a political dispute. There's no different theology here. Ali is not Shia and Uthman is not Sunni. There is no Shia Sunni here. These are two Muslims with powerful profiles and powerful backgrounds, and they are cousins. Amazingly, they are cousins. This is what people don't understand and realize. Okay? People treat Ali bin Abi Talib and Muawiyah as the Quran treats Musa and Fir'aun. And this is a complete distortion of the history of Islam. There was no Musa here and there was no Fir'aun here. These were two cousins who disputed with each other over a political incident, and they different understandings. Ali radiallahu anhu, who was a sincere servant of Allah. His view was that we unite and we will deal with these people who were in a very huge number. They were a very powerful group, a rebel group, okay, in the army of Ali bin Abi Talib. In fact, they outnumbered the people who were the sincere Muslims, the followers of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. And how do we know this? Later events proved exactly the point I'm making right now. The battle of Nahrawan between the Khawarij and Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, that took place later on, okay, was between Ali and his forces and people who broke away from Ali's forces. 10,000 Khawarij. 10,000 of them. Where did they come from? They didn't come from the army of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. They broke away from the army of... This is why Muawiyah, his demand, as reasonable as it was, may not be the right course of action. Because Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, his argument was that if we start to arrest the killers of Uthman, we are going to arrest 10,000 people. And what would happen? What do you think? There would be a bloodbath. There would be a rebellion long before the Battle of Nahrawan, which eventually took place. Those rebels had to be dealt with later on anyway. So if Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu had joined hands with Muawiyah and arrested the killers of Uthman and the people who agreed with them, it could have been a bloodbath then. But it happened anyway later on between the Khawarij and Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. So you can see both sides had very strong, reasonable arguments. Ali was saying arresting these people, reprimanding them, restraining them could easily mean a bloodbath. Okay? Which could easily result in the killing of Ali bin Abi Talib himself radiallahu anhu, and his close family and followers. Because these were extremists. They were Khawarij who came and besieged the house of Uthman radiallahu anhu, and the majority of them came from tribes from Iraq. Okay? And on the other hand, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was saying, sorry, no, we want them arrested and we will be with you to fight them. Ali's view was that it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. So they disagreed, clearly they disagreed on the events. There was no theology there. But, okay, their disagreements were valid. They had valid interpretations of the events, the incidents that were taking place at the time. And that's why Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, he basically insisted on his position and not giving bay'ah to Ali bin Abi Talib until these killers. And then some rumors were spread that maybe Allah, a'udhu billah, thumma a'udhu billah. Okay, naqle kufr nabashad, as they say, documenting kufr or documenting wrong ideas does not mean that you believe in them. But some people, they started to spread rumors, maybe Ali was in it. That's why he's not arresting them. That's why he's not, reprimanding them. And these were, of course, false claims spread by the munafiqeen to increase the rift between the two groups. And most of these munafiqeen, they actually came from that very group that besieged the house of Uthman, the Khawarij. They didn't want the Muslims to unite. Because if Ali and Muawiyah united, radiallahu anhuma, if they united, who do you think would be the target? The first course of action would be the arresting of the Khawarij. Okay? So these concepts, they have to be very clear. People have misunderstandings about these concepts and these conflicts. And they have a very black and white reading of these events. People today, the Shia, because they put a halo around the head of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, later on Ali radiallahu anhu became a divine figure, okay, or someone with divine characteristics or semi-divine characteristics. Let me be more safe. Let me be more safe with my words. So Ali bin Abi Talib became a figure later on with semi-divine characteristics, with a halo around his head. You've seen the images of Isa alayhi salam painted by Christians. you see a halo around his head because this is a divine person, God walking on earth, right? Later on, the Shia attributed a lot of divine powers to Ali bin Abi Talib through the concept of imama and other things. So because the later understanding was very high, what we call high Christology and low Christology, when it comes to the issue of Isa alayhi salam, okay, the Christians developed a view about Isa alayhi salam over centuries. He didn't become God as soon as he preached his message. No, he was made into a God later on in the 2nd and 3rd century by Neoplatonic church fathers, right? There was a reading of the Bible. Likewise, Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh did not become a divine or semi-divine figure when he was alive, or his immediate followers and family didn't see him in that light. He was turned into a semi-divine figure later on in Kufa and Qum, right? So when they projected this image backwards, they are looking at Muawiyah, an ordinary Muslim, fighting who? A semi-divine person. So you fight Ali, Allahu Akbar, A'udhu Billah, Kufr. How can you fight Ali with a halo around his head? That's how the Shia projected this image backwards to Ali bin Abi Talib at the Battle of Siffin. Not realizing that the people alive at that time did not have this image of Ali bin Abi Talib. This is what we call anachronism. You basically construct an idea, you conceive an idea and project this idea backwards. You take it back 200-300 years earlier and make someone into something that he was not at that time. At that time, Ali bin Abi Talib, as giant a figure, as important as he was, most importantly, the Lion of Allah. Okay, the Lion of Allah, Haydar, Asadullah al-Ghalib, who fought at the Battle of Badr, who killed Ibn Abil Wud, and the Battle of Ditch, okay, who fought in the Battle of Khaybar and was victorious, okay, one of the bravest of men to live among the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba knew him. They knew who he was, but none of them believed him to be that divine Imam appointed by Allah. That was later on. Okay? This is very important. So Muawiyah, when he was looking at Ali bin Abi Talib, he was not seeing a God walking on earth, or he was not looking at a divine Imam, divinely appointed Imam. If Muawiyah had that view, he would definitely surrender to Ali bin Abi Talib. This is a divinely appointed Imam, semi-divine figure with a halo around his head. He's got all these, he's got wilayat al-taqweeniyah, he's got power over all atoms, right? He is mushkil kusha, right? He can remove all your calamities. Why the hell would someone fight him if they believe these things? Right? And if Ali radiallahu anh believed these things himself, he would have told Muawiyah, oh Muawiyah, I am appointed by Allah. Okay? But when Ali bin Abi Talib delivered speeches, even reported by the Shia sources, in a book, for example, like Nahjul Balagha, in one of his sermons, you know how Ali bin Abi Talib argued for the legitimacy of his own caliphate against vis-a-vis Muawiyah's claims? He said, I am appointed as Khalifa, as a successor of Rasulullah, by the same people who appointed who? Abu Bakr and Umar. This is in your Shia sources, Nahjul Balagha, his khutbah, right? So Allahu Akbar. This is very, very important for people to understand. Long story short, the Battle of Siffin took place due to these differences, and in that battle there were heavy losses, Muslims from both sides. Majority of the Sahaba abstained from taking sides. They abstained. They did not want to become a party to either side. Why? Because they saw it as fitna. Al-fitnatul kubra. It was al-fitnatul kubra, no doubt. This was a great trial upon Muslims. And amazingly, the Quran, alludes to it indirectly, that if two groups of believers, okay, fight each other, then make up between them. Okay. فَأَصْلِحُ بَيْنَهُمَا. Okay, then you try to make peace between them. And if one of them rebels against the other, or if one of them is the aggressor, then you fight that aggressor to subdue them so that they can be peace. They can be peace, right? But Allah calls them mu'mineen. فَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ اقْتَتَلُوا فَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا. If two groups of believers fight each other, Allah is calling them believers. So if two groups fought here at the Battle of Siffin, they don't become kuffar just because of fighting each other. As I said, it was later on that halo was put around the head of Ali bin Abi Talib and he was made into a divine figure. So if you fight a divine figure, if you fight a prophet, you're a kafir. Yes or no?
Yes.
If you fight a prophet, that's why this view was developed later on, the imama, the view of imama, which is what? Ali bin Abi Talib and other imams up to Imam Hassan al-Askari, and later on his son, who was claimed to have been born, the invisible Imam Mahdi, who is in occultation, who is in hiding until the day of judgment, as the Shias believe. All of these imams are better than Anbiya, other than Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are afdal. They are afdal than Anbiya. So Ali bin Abi Talib, Hassan, Hussein, Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, Musa Kazim, Ali Naki, okay, all of these, Ali Rida, Masalan, all of these imams are better than Musa, Isa, even Ibrahim alayhi salam, apart from only exception is Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Obviously, if they would claim that, that would directly contradict the Quran. They can't because of the verse of the Quran. Which verse? Which verse? Surah Al-Ahzab, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, An-Nabiyyu awla bil mu'mineen min anfusihim wa azwajuhu ummahatuhum. Nabi is superior. Nabi is superior to believers than themselves. So no one could claim that there could be another believer superior to the Prophet. That's why they made an exception about Muhammad Rasulullah. But then some claim equality between Muhammad Rasulullah and Ali bin Abi Talib, because they claim that in the ayah of Mubarak in Surah Al-Imran, Rasulullah called Ali his own nafs. But this is my nafs. He and Ali are the same thing. So these are the beliefs we don't agree with. They constitute kufr. Clear exit from the understanding of the Muslims has been held for the last 1,400 years. Okay? So, this battle resulted as a split between Ali's group and Muawiyah's group. So people who were part of Ali's group, they came to be known as Shi'atu Ali, and those who were following Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, they were called Shi'atu Muawiyah. Okay? And there was no theological split between the two. They prayed the same way, they believed in the same thing, they read the same Quran. There was no distinct Quran in their hands as was claimed later on. Okay? So Karbala, the background of Karbala is basically after the Battle of Siffin, Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh had to fight the Khawarij in the Battle of Nahrawan, and as a result of that battle, one of the Kharijis called Ibn Muljam, he assassinated Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh when he was on his way to pray Fajr Salah. So three Kharijis decided that we will attack three troublemakers at the same time on the same day. Who were the three troublemakers? Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, Muawiyah radiallahu anh, and Amr bin As radiallahu anh. Amr bin As in Egypt, Muawiyah radiallahu anh in Damascus, and Ali bin Abi Talib in Kufa radiallahu anh. So these three Kharijis attacked three Sahaba respectively on the same day. So real troublemakers were these people, okay, who were killing the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. And again, you have to keep this in mind that these people who were very extreme in their adherence to the Quran. The Khawarij were known for their adherence to the Quran. They were very, very diligent in reading the Quran, and they had big marks on their foreheads. But amazingly, they were misguided. And the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned them in Sahih reports that these people, when you see them, don't leave any one of them alive. Why? And you will see their salah and their reading of the Quran, and you will feel inferior. He's talking to the Sahaba. And that's how Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anh described them when he went to negotiate with them, when they rebelled against Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh. He could hear the buzzing sound. What is that? You know this sound. When do you hear this sound in a masjid? The Quran is being read. They are all reading the Quran. All reading. And Abdullah bin Abbas, and they are all misguided, fighting who? Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, the son-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some of these people had killed another son-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Quran was not penetrating their throats. It wasn't entering their hearts for some reason. And same today, when you see people, you will see very strong religion in them. You will see, oh Allahu Akbar, they're very religious. Yeah. But the Quran will not go down. They will be very rash, very quick to judge, very quick to attack and fight you. And these are the people we call Khawarij, the Kharijites. Okay? Even today, this phenomenon exists. There's a mindset. Read the Quran all day. But when you see their behavior with the Muslims, you think, these people, what Quran are they reading? So if they can kill the Sahaba, if those people existed at that time, they exist today. Okay? So the Khawarij split from Ali bin Abi Talib, and Ali bin Abi Talib fought them, and then they decided that Ali bin Abi Talib killed them, 10,000 of them, only 9 of them survived. Only 9 of them survived in the Battle of Naharawan, as per the prediction of the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they wanted to avenge this. So Ibn Muljam, he fell in love with a woman, a Khariji woman. And she said, I'll marry you on one condition, kill Ali bin Abi Talib, the one who destroyed the entire group of the Khawarij. And he went and did that. And there were 2 other Kharijis who attacked Muawiyah and Amr bin As. Both of them survived. Okay? Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh was killed as a result. What happens now? Hassan radiallahu anh takes the bay'ah. So these people, these followers, so-called followers, okay, were not, most of them were not sincere to Ali bin Abi Talib. There are khutbahs from Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh that these people of Kufa, they are not true followers. They are traitors. And he was very sick and tired of them. And these same people gave bay'ah to Hassan radiallahu anh. Now Hassan's position was, due to the fact that these people were not trustworthy, his bay'ah, okay, didn't mean much. He became the Khalifa after Ali bin Abi Talib, and we consider him to be the right choice after his father, Ali radiallahu anh. Is that clear? Okay. Is this too much detail, or shall I shorten? Yeah. You sure? Yeah.
Are we able to ask questions, or is that at the end?
Actually, I'll stop after every session, and then we will take questions. Okay? So the second session has started, the second heading in my presentation, but let me finish this one, and we will take questions. So please note your questions, inshallah. So, Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh has been martyred as a shaheed, and the killer was executed in due course. Hassan was given bay'ah. The people who gave Hassan were definitely not trustworthy, but the followers of Muawiyah in Asham, in Bilad al-Sham, were very loyal fighters. Even there are reports of Ali bin Abi Talib that he said, if I had the followers of Muawiyah, I would conquer the world. Indeed, no doubt. And events later on proved that very point. This is how wise these people were. Allahu Akbar. the statement of Ali was so true that later events proved this to be so right. Why? Because after Muawiyah came to power, radiallahu anhu, okay, there was peace for 20 years, and the conquest of Islam that had stopped during the 6th year of Uthman radiallahu anhu, because the remaining 6 years were filled with chaos within the Muslim domain, and then the next 4 years of Ali bin Abi Talib were also civil war between Muawiyah and the disturbances due to the killing of Uthman radiallahu anhu and the battle of Nahrawan. So Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was fighting all these challenges, and when he was shaheed, then Hassan came to power for 6 months, and he realized that there is no way that he can fight Muawiyah with these people. They're not trustworthy. And Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, he sent a message to Hassan that how many more Muslims have to die. And he knew Hassan radiallahu anhu to be a softer character than his father. He knew that Hassan, he was not weak. Hassan radiallahu anhu is the son of the line of Allah. He was trained by his father. He was present in the battle of Siffin. He had seen the killings. And he always expressed remorse over the killings of Siffin and Jamal, a battle that took place between Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh and the people who came with Aisha radiallahu anh. They didn't come to fight Ali. They only came to solve the dispute. Right? And then these Khawarij in the army of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh who were there, they knew if there is a agreement between these two parties, Aisha radiallahu anha and people who came with her, some of them Kibar Sahaba, Zubair, Talha, they were there, right? Radiallahu anhuma. And if they make agreement with Ali bin Abi Talib and his people, then the result will be we will be captured, we will be punished for what we did. So they shot arrows at the army of Aisha radiallahu anha at night, and they retaliated, and then there was the battle of Jamal. That's why this period is called Al-Fitnatul Kubra. And we thank Allah that Allah saved us from that time, because the Sahaba ended up killing each other due to these disagreements. May Allah have mercy on all of them. May Allah be pleased with them all, because they were not insincere people. Whatever they did, whenever they fought for the haqq, the truth, what they understood to be the truth. And they were human beings, they could make mistakes, and they did make mistakes. We believe Aisha radiallahu anha should not have come out. We believe Muawiyah radiallahu anh should have given bay'ah to Ali bin Abi Talib. He should have united with Ali bin Abi Talib. That would have made both parties strong, and they could have dealt with the Khawarij straight away. He should not have put up this resistance. We believe that. In hindsight, absolutely, no doubt that Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh was upon haqq. He was upon the truth. But it was not as simple as that at that time. In hindsight, having known the outcome of the events later on, now we can easily say, oh yeah, Muawiyah should have done that. But if you put yourself in his place at that time, it was not as simple as that. It was this is why it's called Al-Fitnatul Kubra, the great trial, because they all fell for their respective understandings of events and incidents. So Hassan knew that these people are not trustworthy. Muawiyah sends a message, Ya Hassan, what's going to happen now? If we continue with this dispute, more Muslims will die. Hassan radiallahu anh, having known the prediction, the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who knows the hadith? Inna ibni haza, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم Inna ibni haza sayyadun. This son of mine is noble. He is noble. لعل الله أن يصلح بين فئتين عظيمتين من المسلمين. That Allah may unite two great groups of Muslims through him. And this was the time. Hassan, he made basically peace with Muawiyah radiallahu anh and gave bay'ah to him. Gave bay'ah. This is where the problem comes for the Shia. Because the Shia narrative completely dismantles in the face of this fact, this reality. This one fact alone This one fact alone is enough to dismantle the Shia theology that was developed later on. Because there was a story, there was a narrative that was made up, that was developed later on, as I mentioned, in Kufa, first in Kufa and then later developed further in Qum. This narrative completely falls apart when you look at one incident, one event in the history of Islam. And no scholar, no researcher, no theologian, Shia or Sunni can dispute it. Yallah. What is that incident? The bay'ah of Hassan on the hand of Muawiyah. Now the Shia theologians, they declare Muawiyah to be a kafir, the worst kafir to walk the planet. They put him on par with Fir'aun and Haman and Junuduhum and all the kuffar kings mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah. They put them together. They say Muawiyah, for doing what he did in Siffin and not giving bay'ah to Ali bin Abi Talib, the divinely appointed Imam, he was a kafir. If that's the case, did Hassan not know that? Did Hassan radiallahu anh, did he not witness the battle of Siffin? Did he not know what happened there? If he had the same theological view the Shias have today about Muawiyah, Hassan would never give bay'ah to a kafir and then put him on the mimbar to become the Khalifa for the Muslims. Because effectively, for all practical reasons, Hassan radiallahu anh gave his status to Muawiyah. Because giving bay'ah to Muawiyah means what? What are the practical implications of this action? Hassan steps down. He steps down. Yes? As what? Amir al-Mu'mineen. He steps down as Amir al-Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Muslimin, okay? Or Khalifatul Rasul, Khalifatullah, call him what you like. All these terms are applicable. He steps down and he puts up who? Muawiyah, and gives bay'ah to him and makes him Amir al-Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Muslimin, Khalifatul Rasul, Khalifatullah, and hands over power to him. So the Shia theologians and Shia activists and some of the Dhakirin, the speakers, they come back and say, no. This was not bay'ah. This was not bay'ah. This was sulh. This was sulh. And there are terms reported in your sources. Open your sources, ya Sunnis. They come to us and they say, ya Sunnis. Oh Sunnis, open your books. We say to them, there are many interpolations in our books made by the Shia. Many. There are reports in our books, and the origin, when you trace it, is a Shia reporter. They made up stories to somehow do away with these challenging issues. One of them, for example, Rasulullah dying in the arms of Aisha radiallahu anha. The Shia narrative is that Aisha was condemned. She was a kafir. A'udhu billah. Thumma a'udhu billah. You might have seen in my videos where I'm talking to some Shia youngsters. They're openly saying Aisha was a kafir. She was a disbeliever. A'udhu billah. Thumma a'udhu billah. So I asked them, did the Prophet know this? Or you are more knowledgeable than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Did the Prophet know this? Yes, he knew this. So why is he dying in her arms, in her house, in her room, on her bed? If she's a kafira, like the wife of Lut alayhi salam in the Quran, did Lut alayhi salam go back to her? No. After Allah declared her as a kafira, did Lut alayhi salam go back to her? The Prophet is dying in her arms. All historians are unanimous. You cannot dispute archaeology. You can claim, oh, these reports are lies. You can say, oh, these reports are lies. We don't believe these reports that Aisha was there at the death of the Prophet. Actually, they claim that the Prophet died in the arms of Ali. But this goes against archaeology. How? Where is the Prophet buried, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? In Hujratu Aisha. No Shia and no Sunni archaeologists, not theologians, archaeologists will dispute this. Because the Musalla of Rasulullah is right next to the Hujratu Aisha. And the Prophet is buried in there. So this is one incident that really completely pulls the rug from the Shia theology. And the other one is Hassan giving bay'ah to Muawiyah. If Hassan had seen Muawiyah through the same lens the Shia see him today, he would never give bay'ah to Muawiyah, let alone, forget bay'ah, he would not shake hands with him. The Shia do not name their children Muawiyah today. And Hassan gave bay'ah to him, put him on the minbar. If you ask a Shi'i today, would you give your daughter in marriage to, let's say, Netanyahu, yeah? They would say, absolutely, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. How dare you ask us this question? If you ask them who's worse, Netanyahu or Muawiyah, they will say Muawiyah. So if you wouldn't give your daughter to Netanyahu in marriage, you're telling us Hassan gave the entire ummah from Persia to North Africa to Muawiyah. Especially when he is what you think he is. So when Muawiyah comes to power, he rules for 20 years and the expansion of Islam resumes. Allahu Akbar. Muslims conquer lands further down in Persia and they go as far as what we today know as Pakistan. In the time of Muawiyah, Muslims conquered territories in Balochistan or Sijistan. Towards the west, Muslims took Cyprus. This is during the reign of Muawiyah. And many of the children of Ahlul Bayt, were fighting in these wars. Many of them. Many people from the family of Rasulullah ﷺ and children of his uncles were fighting in these wars under the leadership of Muawiyah. If they considered him to be a kafir or an illegitimate ruler, they would never fight. Hassan radiallahu anhu, was receiving stipends from Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. If he had not considered him to be a legitimate ruler, he would never receive money from him. That money was not Muawiyah's money, by the way. That money was the money of Ummah, and the family of the Prophet ﷺ deserves that money. But he would not receive it from that person. And there are questions we can take later on, inshallah. So, when Muawiyah radiallahu anh died, or when he was old and he knew he might die, he started to take bay'ah for Yazid, which was wrong. In hindsight again, Muawiyah radiallahu anh had possibly other plans. He was choosing the best person in his eyes to rule the Muslim territory, Muslim Ummah, Muslim Empire, because this is a battle-hardened, trained general who attacked the Romans, who led armies against the Romans. He was specifically groomed to lead the Muslims. There were many Sahaba, who could rule the Muslim Ummah. But I ask you a question now. If you want a company, a very big company, let's say Amazon. Let's say Amazon company. You're given two choices. Imam Sahib from the masjid, known for his piety and his tahajjud and his reading of the Quran, and he reads the Quran and he cries every day. Imam Sahib. Yeah? Are you listening to me? Pay attention. This is a very important point. Right? There is an Imam Sahib, you see him every day crying, reading the Quran. And his beard is wet with tears. And you know he prays tahajjud at night as well. But now there is a job vacancy to manage Amazon. Amazon is a giant company, yeah? And the other option is a person who comes, just prays his salah in the masjid, doesn't read much Quran, is not well known to be a very pious Muslim. But he is a trained manager, very shrewd, very astute in running the business. He's a businessman, well-known businessman. Who would you give the job to? Be fair, be just. Who would you give the job to?
Businessman.
Sorry?
Businessman.
Why not the Imam Sahib? He's pious, he's crying over the Quran, he's reading tahajjud, he's doing tahajjud at night, and he is a well-known, trustworthy person. Why not him?
Different fields.
Different fields, different skills. You put the Imam Sahib with his crying over the Quran as a manager over Amazon, what's going to happen? Bankruptcy. Because he is not trained to run those affairs. So when people come with these stupid, okay, thank you. When people come with these stupid ideas that, oh, there were so many Sahaba alive, why couldn't the Khilafah be given to them? Perhaps Muawiyah did not see them fit for the job. Piety is one thing. It's like when Abu Dhar al-Ghifari came to the Prophet ﷺ for a position. What did the Prophet say? What did the Prophet say? Not you. Why? He was known for his piety, his taqwa, but he was not the right person for the job. Okay? Khalid bin Walid, Sayfun min Suyufillah. Okay, he fought the Persians and the Romans. Imagine if he was made the Imam at the masjid. He was not for that. He was not for teaching the Quran to the children, which is a very noble work, very noble job. Allahu Akbar. But Allah made him to fight. He was a general. He was used as a general. So Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, having known Yazid, who had led armies against the Romans, and he was right at the center of power in Damascus, where the caliphate was based. Okay, he knew that this person after me is the right person to rule because he's groomed, he's trained. But he was wrong. He was wrong. This was a misjudgment on the part of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. It was a major mistake because later events proved so. Yazid may have been a general, may have been an administrator, may have been a poet, let's say, may have been an intellectual, but he was a very, very bad choice. Because the Sahaba did not agree with him. Okay, they were forced into giving bay'ah to him because Muawiyah was thinking that I'm doing something for the greater good of the Ummah. Okay, and people can say, oh yes, Hussein radiallahu anhu was alive. Muawiyah could have given bay'ah to Hussein radiallahu anhu. He clearly made a mistake. Muawiyah made a mistake. No, because of that mistake, he's going to call him a kafir. Okay, did Hussein call him a kafir? Did Hussein rebel against Muawiyah? Why did Hussein radiallahu anhu go out to Karbala or to Kufa? First of all, why was he going there? Is a very good question. Why did Hussein radiallahu anhu decide not to give bay'ah to Yazid, but he remained in the bay'ah of Muawiyah? Hussein remained loyal to Muawiyah. How do we know that? No opposition. Same Hussein radiallahu anhu, the son of who? The line of Allah, who would never take oppression, who would never surrender to kufr. Do you agree with me or not? I'm sure the Shias also agree with me. Hussein would never surrender to kufr, never surrender to oppression, never surrender to injustice. Do you all agree? Allahu Akbar. The son of line of Allah. He is not fighting Muawiyah. He's not rebelling against Muawiyah. He's not rebuking Muawiyah. He's not even traveling to Damascus to tell Muawiyah off. He is quiet in Medina. He's living his life. As soon as Yazid is appointed as the Khalifa, what does he do? He registers his dissent, his disagreement, and his opposition. Yes or no? Yes or no? So what does that tell you? That Hussein did not see Muawiyah and Yazid to be the same. This also destroys the Shia theology, pulls the rug from the feet of the Shia theology. That if Hussein had the courage, had the zeal, had the motivation to come out when Yazid is appointed, why did he not do this against Muawiyah, who was a bigger culprit according to the Shia theology? And amazingly, if you want to condemn Muawiyah, you condemn Hassan radiallahu anhu, because he's the man who put him in power. He's the man who put him on the most powerful seat of Khilafah. So Hussein radiallahu anhu comes out, and this is when Karbala happens. What's the time now, brothers?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Inshallah, we're going to take a break soon. Well, before that, we're going to take Q&A. Sorry, it's not working. So Imam Hussein radiallahu anh, the beloved grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, took a stand against the appointment of Yazid as caliph because he believed it contradicted the principles of leadership in Islam. Absolutely. Absolutely. He did not believe in the leadership of Yazid. This decision was based on concerns for the Ummah, not a claim to imamate or divine authority. You have to remember now, Hussein did not come out, whether he came out to fight, to rebel, to launch a campaign against Yazid, to launch an army against him, to launch a parallel caliphate from Kufa. All of these are assumptions without any basis, without any foundation. One can make any assumption, any wild assumption about why Hussein radiallahu anh came. Okay? But one thing is clear, he did not come out to fight. He did not come out to fight. And he did not believe that he is a divinely appointed imam. And there was no claim to divine imamate. How do we know that? If Hussein radiallahu anh came out to oppose Yazid based upon his belief in Shia imamate, which was projected backwards on these people from later generations in Qum and Kufa. If Hussein radiallahu anh had believed in that divine imamate, he would have come out against Muawiyah. As soon as Hassan died, as soon as Hassan, not even Uthman, as soon as Hassan died, because who gave bay'ah to Muawiyah? Hassan. So this claim to divine imamate is already dismantled. Okay? Because anything given by Allah to you, what the Shias claim theologically, that imamate is given by Allah. Okay? Ali bin Abi Talib and all the other imams following Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, are divinely appointed imams. They are imams bila fasl. This is khilafah bila fasl. Yes? Okay? And they are divinely appointed imams. If that was the case, as soon as Hassan passed away, radiallahu anh, okay, then Hussein would have risen up. He would have said, I am the divinely appointed imam. My brother gave bay'ah to you. I was bound by that bay'ah, but now he's passed away. He died, radiallahu anh. Now I don't have to follow that because I am the rightful imam. It is my right. First of all, when Allah gives you imamate, can you give it to someone else? If Allah gives it to you, can you give it to someone else? What happened to Yunus alayhi salam? What happened to Yunus alayhi salam? Yunus alayhi salam was put in the belly of the whale for why? For what reason? For what reason? Was that a warning from Allah or was that a reward from Allah? It was a warning from Allah to Yunus alayhi salam that you do not go away from your da'wah, your responsibilities, your duties. You don't. And what was Yunus alayhi salam saying in the belly of the whale? What was the dua? Allahu Akbar. In this, there is a sign for those who contemplate. In this incident of Yunus alayhi salam, what is he saying? La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illa anta. La ilaha illa ant. Na inni kuntu min az-zalimin. La ilaha illa ant. Inni kuntu min az-zalimin. No, sorry. La ilaha illa anta. Subhanaka inni kuntu min az-zalimin. La ilaha illa anta. Subhanaka inni kuntu min az-zalimin. Okay? Allahu Akbar. That there is no one worthy of worship except you. Glory be to you. I am the one who oppressed myself. How? So how can Hassan radiallahu anhu give away a imama that was given to him by Allah and walk away to Medina? A question for the Shia theologians. Answer this question. Your games will not work. Oh, this was to save the Ummah from bloodshed. This was to unite. This was taqiyya. This was just a strategic move. He was still planning. No. Sorry. Nothing works. None of these excuses, none of these arguments, we are well aware of them. They don't work. Hassan giving bay'ah to Muawiyah radiallahu anh completely dismantles the 12-verse theology. It raises it to the ground. It brings it down. Why? Because now it is clear that Imam Ma'soom, appointed by Allah, is handing over power to a kafir and walking away, according to your theology. Allahu Akbar. Come back to Allah. Make tawbah. Make tawbah. These are signs from Allah. We are only being used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to convey this message to you. So, Hussein radiallahu anh did not think that he was a divine Imam. Okay? Otherwise he would have come out earlier, but he came out against Yazid. That means two things. Yazid was undeserving. And we agree. Yes or no? We agree. Yazid was undeserving. That was Hussein's view, radiallahu anh. That's why he did not give bay'ah to Yazid when Muawiyah was, radiallahu anh, was actually telling Muslims to give bay'ah to him. The second point that comes out from this was that Muawiyah was deserving. Muawiyah was deserving. Why? Because Hussein did not come out. Hussein did not come out. And nothing had changed as far as the Markaz is concerned. Muawiyah had the same army Yazid had. Yes or no? Same generals? Yes or no? Same power? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So why would Hussein come out against Yazid? Because he was undeserving. And Muawiyah was deserving. That's why Hussein remained peaceful. In fact, there are reports that the Iraqis were writing letters to Hussein to come out. And Muawiyah's intelligence, radiallahu anh, had told him that this is happening. And Muawiyah radiallahu anh wrote letters to Hussein telling him, do not listen to Iraqis. Do not listen to Iraqis. Okay? They betrayed your father. They betrayed your brother. They will betray you. Do not do anything like this. And Hussein agreed, radiallahu anh. He did not come out. But as soon as Yazid comes to power, the Iraqis write letters in thousands. Oh, Hussein, come to us. Unfortunately, those letters do not survive. Otherwise, we would have known the subject matter of the letters. But they invited him. We know for a fact that they wrote these letters. They invited Hussein radiallahu anh, and Hussein was advised against it by all his well-wishers. Oh, Hussein, do not go to Kufa. They will betray you. They have a very bad profile. And this is not all the people of Kufa. Again, this is not all the people of Kufa. This is the overwhelming majority of the Kufans. There was something very unique about them. They had the acumen and the expertise to betray. And they would betray right at the time, at the moment when you needed them the most. And for some reason, Hussein radiallahu anh did not listen to that advice, and he went out with his entire family. Now, when you go to war, everyone, pay attention to me. When you go to war, do you take your family? Do you take your children? Do you take your infants? Do you take your women? No. Hussein radiallahu anh could not expect what would happen to him later on. He did not expect. And the Shia view that the Imams know ma kana ma yakun. They know ilm al-ghayb. They know the past, the present, and the future. This is the Shia theology, by the way. Okay? That the Imams have the knowledge of the past, present, and future. Okay? So by that virtue, Hussein radiallahu anh committed suicide and he killed his family as well. Yes or no? That's the only conclusion. Right? By that virtue, Hassan radiallahu anh deliberately gave power to Muawiyah, having known that Muawiyah will choose Yazid. And then that means it was Hassan who chose Yazid, not Muawiyah, because he had the knowledge. Okay? And if Ali bin Abi Talib had known that my son, this Hassan, will give power to a kafir, he would have killed him. In the battle of Siffin, instead of fighting Muawiyah, he would have killed Hassan. Yes or no? Look at the implications of these beliefs. The belief is what? The Imams know ma kana ma yakun. They know what was, what is, and what will be. This is the Shia theology. Okay? And if this is the case, then everything was wrong about the Imams and their decisions. Everything. Ali bin Abi Talib should not have left Hassan alive in the battle of Siffin. Instead of fighting Muawiyah, he should have killed Hassan. That this son of mine, who the Prophet said will unite two major groups of my believers, Ummah, right, Muslimin, kill him. Because why am I fighting Siffin? Why am I fighting Muawiyah in the battle of Siffin? Why am I getting all these Muslims killed when this man I'm fighting is going to come to power because of my son? To kill my son. Yes or no? He doesn't do it. Clearly he didn't have the knowledge of the future. Hassan gives bay'ah to Muawiyah, not knowing what Muawiyah will do later on. Appointed his son to power. Yet clearly didn't know the future. Hussein goes out with his entire family, with the infants, to allegedly fight Yazid, which he did not, right? Because when you fight, you go with an army. You don't go with your family, women and children, right? Hussein had no idea that the people of Kufa are such munafiqeen that they will betray him. They will betray him to the extent that they will even kill him. The people who killed Hussein radiallahu anh and the family were the people of Kufa. By the way, there is almost nothing authentic about the Battle of Karbala. There are only three authentic reports, only three authentic reports that reach the level of Sahih, okay, about the Battle of Karbala. Only three reports that are authentic, and they give you very scanty details. One report is Hussein radiallahu anh met people coming from Kufa on the way to Kufa, and they tell him, turn around, things have changed in Kufa. One authentic report tells us this. Sahih Sanad. The next report, that is authentic, not Mawdu, not Da'if, authentic, which says that Hussein radiallahu anhu was already killed in Karbala. What happened between? We have nothing authentic. And all the Shia books about the Maqtal of Hussein are a pack of lies. I am saying this as an academic, as a Sunni student of Islam. Okay? This is not disowning everything. No, of course, there are snippets of truth there as well. Absolutely. What is true? Yes, Hussein radiallahu anh was killed in Karbala. Yes, this is true. This is true. We have authentic reports to how, who, when exactly, what happened, all these long stories that you find in the book of Abu Mikhnaf, Lut bin Yahya, who narrated the Maqtal of Hussein. Okay? Pack of lies. Those long speeches, poetry, stories, water was required, arrow shot this and arrow shot that, and this happened and that happened, and this was said and this was heard. Who was recording all that? All a pack of lies. All the dhakirs and the narrators you see on social media, and you see the majalis of the Shia believers. Okay, may Allah guide them. We have nothing but sympathy and compassion for them. Crying over stories they hear. These stories are not true. Are they even true is the question. So we unfortunately don't know authentically as to what exactly took place in the Battle of Karbala. But we definitely know for certain that Ubaydullah bin Ziyad, the governor sent by Yazid, was a mujrim, was a criminal. Because we have Sahih Hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari that when the head of Hussein radiallahu anh was brought to Kufa, to the Qasr, in front of him, and a Sahabi was present, if I'm not mistaken, it was Anas bin Malik radiallahu anh, he was playing with the head of Hussein radiallahu anh with a stick. And then the Sahabi, he said that I saw the same lips being kissed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he got back immediately. So this was a mujrim, Ubaydullah bin Ziyad. But so were the people who invited him and betrayed him and killed him. Because if we go to history sources, which are inauthentic, by the way. Most of the reports about Karbala and incidents around Karbala are unauthentic, unfortunately. Many of them have been reported by Shia with lies filled in them. Okay? And if we take all the history put together, okay, then it doesn't make sense because there are reports contradicting each other. If we take one set of reports against another and they happen to be from the same level of authenticity, then they contradict each other. They contradict each other directly. So that's why we cannot take them at face value. We really have to sift through sources to get as much truth as we can. But one thing is sure, 100%, there are few facts we can document that are 100% true. Number one, Hussein radiallahu anh, he went to Kufa against the advice of all the well-wishers, including the Sahaba. Okay? Number two, he was informed on the way that going to Kufa is not a good idea, authentically. Number three, he was killed in Karbala. Number four, the people of Kufa who invited him betrayed him. Number five, the people of Kufa were directly involved in killing him. Active players with swords, spears, and other weapons. They killed Hussein and his family. There is a theory, and it's a very strong theory, that there were people of Kufa with Hussein when he was traveling from Medina to Kufa, because they went to bring him. And when they realized that Kufa has turned against Hussein, and the cousin of Hussein radiallahu anh, Muslim bin Aqil, who was sent as an ambassador to Kufa to take the bay'ah of the people of Kufa to get assurances of support, they have turned around and they have handed over Muslim bin Aqil to Ubaidullah bin Ziyad for him to be killed. When they heard that now Hussein has letters with him, letters, evidence of Kufans inviting him. And there are reports that Hussein, when he heard what had happened, he gave three choices to the army that besieged him, led by Umar bin Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, who was the son of a Sahabi, okay, the son of Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anh, and Shimr, who was initially in the army of Ali bin Abi Talib, and he was a brother-in-law of Ali bin Abi Talib. A lot of people don't know this. Shimr's sister, one of his sisters, was married to Ali bin Abi Talib. He was Shia to Ali. He fought in the Battle of Siffin from the side of Ali bin Abi Talib. He was a brother-in-law of Ali bin Abi Talib. These were the leaders who were present in Karbala when Hussein radiallahu anh was killed. And then the Kufans, the army, bulk of the army was made up of Kufans. And these are the people who killed Hussein radiallahu anh. Now there are two theories. Either the Kufans who came from Kufa killed him, or the ones who accompanied him from Medina, because they had realized these three options Hussein gave were what? Let me go to the borders of Islam and let me fight the kuffar and get killed. I would rather fight the kuffar and get killed in jihad fi sabilillah. Or let me go back to Mecca where I came from. Okay? Because Hussein radiallahu anh came from Medina to Mecca and from Mecca to Kufa. He made his way to Kufa. He never made it to Kufa. Or let me go to Damascus and meet with Yazid and I will leave my affair to him. All three options were rejected, and these people who were with Hussein radiallahu anh, they had realized that tables have turned, so the only way they can survive or save their own lives is to kill Hussein and his family and burn all the letters. The first thing that happened was that the fire to the tent where letters were kept. You know, all those letters, the evidence was burnt. During this battle, all those letters got burnt. So there is a strong theory that the people of Kufa who had accompanied Hussein from Mecca to Kufa, they are the ones who killed him and his family, or they are the ones who got the army that came from Kufa to kill him so that those letters can be destroyed. If Yazid had got those letters, okay, then he would know the names of the people, the the leaders, what do you call them? The heads, sorry, there's a word for that. The leaders of the camp, the fitna, the ones who invited, the ones who wrote letters to Hussein radiallahu anh, they would be discovered and they would be killed off one by one. To save their lives, they did this crime. Okay? So the point is, Karbala happened. It was a painful, very unfortunate event in the history of Islam. Okay? And what happened there was the doing of Shia to Ali. Wallahi, I'm saying this with utmost responsibility. The people who call themselves Shia to Ali are the ones who actually invited Hussein, betrayed him, backstabbed him, and then killed him and his family and children and brothers. And amazingly, there were sons of Ali bin Abi Talib killed there. Okay, called Abu Bakr and Umar. There was a son called Abu Bakr, there was a son called Umar in the Battle of Karbala who were killed with Hussein. Okay, and there were also sons of Hassan present with him who were killed. Okay, and this is confirmed by Shia sources. Mullah Baqir al-Majlisi, okay, he documents that the Shia themselves, Shia to Ali from Kufa, are the ones who killed Hussein. The army made of 5,000 men. Over 99% of the army came from Kufa that killed Hussein. Whether the people who came with him from Mecca or whether the people who came from Kufa led by Umar bin Saad were the people of Kufa who killed Hussein. And you could count the Shamis, the people who came from Syria sent by Yazid to rule Iraq. You could count them on one hand. So who were the people who fought these 70 odd fighters? These are the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're not cowards. You can't just kill them like goats and sheep. They fought back. So it had to be a large army to kill them, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be subdued by a bunch of thugs, right? This was an army that killed them. Okay, and the army was made of the people of Kufa. In another Shia source called Ihtajaj by Tabrasi, very, very famous book. There are khutbahs in that book from the women that survived. Okay, one of the granddaughters of Hussein radiallahu anh, one of the daughters or granddaughters of Hussein radiallahu anh, this is khutbah number 169. She stood up and she cursed the people of Kufa for betraying them and killing them. Then the daughter, the sister of Hussein radiallahu anh, okay, also she cursed the people of Kufa, and these khutbahs are in Ihtajaj by At-Tabrasi. Okay, so khutbah number 169 and the one after, both khutbahs are together where they cursed the people of Kufa and prayed against them for inviting them, betraying them, and destroying their dunya and akhirah. And then amazingly, Allahu Akbar, in this dua against the people of Kufa, these ladies of the house of Rasulullah said that Allah will punish you until the day of judgment. The world will see your punishment. And what is that? Again, in this same book, when Imam Zainul Abidin or Ali bin Hussein radiallahu anh, rahmatullahi alayhi, was brought to Kufa because he was one of the survivors, he saw the men and women of Kufa striking the cheeks and striking themselves and lamenting and crying over the killing of Hussein. And he asked, and this is again ihtajaj of At-Tabrasi, he asked, why are these people striking themselves and crying over the death of my family? Are these not the people who killed us? Are these not the people who killed us? Allahu Akbar. So people who are striking themselves today and self-harming in Muharram, they're not following the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are following the killers of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahi, by Allah, this is true. Because this is documented in Shia books. Read Ihtajaj from At-Tabrasi, and these incidents are reported in there. So very quickly we're going to go to the next slide inshallah. From the Sunni perspective, Imam Hussein's stance was noble but not obligatory for all Muslims. It was a matter of ijtihad. While he was martyred unjustly and treacherously, his goal was